What's going on, y'all? I'm finally back. Happy New Year. It's my first movie review of 2026. It's been a while, but I do want to get more regular. I want to start doing at least a couple of movie reviews a month. But that being said, I have took time to really kind of hone down what I want to use as my grading scale for movies. And I have 7 different pillars that I identified as how I grade a movie. First being story, acting, pacing, message, cinematography, ending, and rewatchability. But with that being said, this movie review is of probably my favorite of the horror-esque genre to date now. And I don't watch a lot of horror, but none other than the movie Hereditary that came out in 2018. Actually saw this movie for the first time in late 2025. I was pretty late to it, but it came out in 2018, directed by Ari Aster. It actually was his first feature-length film. He also directed a very strange movie that's like Something Strange About the Johnsons that was going viral at one point because it's just like a really weird black family drama horror type of thing. But yeah, Hereditary, I watched it for the first time late last year, and it had me kind of in a chokehold after I watched it the first time because of a lot of the things that I talked about as far as story, pacing, acting, and all that. But with no further ado, let me get into my review of the movie Hereditary. All right, so basically Hereditary is, on the surface, is like a family drama that centers around grief. But going into the first grading aspect of story, it's like I said, it's centered around grief. You start off at a funeral, and there's a family, Annie, who's a miniature artist that gets paid to do these small miniature settings or scenes or whatever. He works on that. She's married to Steve, I think his name is Steven. They have a daughter, Charlie, and then a son, Peter. And they're at the funeral of Annie's mother. And from there, it kind of unfolds. It's about a 2-hour movie, but it kind of unfolds, and by the end of it, it's way less of a family drama and way more of a psychological thriller / horror by the end. But I really enjoyed it. So story-wise, I think the story was really well told. I think that moving into the next category, the acting was really, really good, especially Toni Collette, who played Annie, pretty much the main character of the movie. The way that she kind of depicted grief and conveyed grief in her acting performance was super believable, and I think that does the movie a lot of justice in terms of making it feel real and giving it some real impact. I think the way that she, when she goes to the support group or whatever for those who have lost loved ones, just the long one shot of her just talking about the brother, I think, that she lost when she was younger to suicide, and it's this long one shot. It's not cut around, it's not a bunch of editing. So her performance kind of takes the forefront, and I think that because the performance was good, it makes it seem real. It makes it seem like she really feels these things, and and the production of it kind of takes a backseat to the actual performance. Her and then the son, that Peter, the guy that plays Peter, his name is Alexander Wolf. At first, he's just a stoner kid, teenager, but the way that he plays, once the more psychological and supernatural things kind of come into play later on, I feel like it showed a lot of range from him. But overall, across the board, I feel like the acting was very grounded and realistic and believable. And I think that has helped the movie tell its story in a really believable way and have some impact. Moving on to the third category, the pacing. It was about I think 2 hours and 7 minutes. And honestly, I tend to like a little bit of a longer movie because I feel like that allows filmmakers to really flesh out, the story and it not be rushed or feel rushed, or there be loose ends not tied up. But so it's a little bit of a longer movie, especially by not today's standard. I feel like the standard is kind of more like an hour and a half now. But I don't think I felt it being long. I didn't notice it being a longer movie. I think that there's just so much throughout it that like it's just like mystery and makes you want to know what that means and all these little like Easter eggs that like it kind of makes you want to see what's gonna happen next. What is this gonna mean or what does that mean? So I don't think that I think the pacing was actually pretty on point. Message I use because of like movies that have a little bit more of a bigger like a overtone or an undertoning message. I think about movies like Sorry to Bother You, where there's like kind of like this corporate America message within the movie, or even Hunger Games, where it's kind of like anti-government, kind of a rebellion type of thing. This movie, I don't think so much has that kind of a message. It's definitely some supernatural things. Speaking of, all my church people, y'all are not gonna like this movie if you're like particularly religious, because it does deal in some like devil worship type of things. But if you can deal with that at least in a movie setting, then this is a very, very good movie. But yeah, the message, I think there's not so much of like a outside of the movie message other than to like not worship the devil, I guess, or pay attention to red flags, maybe, I guess. But so yeah, moving on from message. Cinematography. This movie has some very, very good cinematography. Literally from one of the first shots where it's like a miniature house and they slowly zoom into what is Peter's room, the son. And then that goes from a miniature to actually being a real scene and somebody walking in. And it's like, there's no seams. Like it's completely seamless. I don't even know how they would have done that exactly. But that just starting off with a bang as far as cinematography, but then even throughout the way they shoot things, in kind of a way that kind of, it can be kind of startling to the viewer, but because it's a horror, supernatural thriller, family drama, whatever, it plays right into the style of the story. I think about toward the beginning, or like right when you start to see that this is going to be a little bit more than a family drama, after the funeral, Annie is in, I think, one of her studios, and she looks over into the shadows, and then there's this like centered up shot of the supposed to be dead grandma standing there in the shadows, and just like having her centered like it was. I feel like it's like psychologically or cinematography wise, it's kind of a confrontational shot. It kind of puts the viewer right in like a deadlock, an eye lock with this character that they're centering. And in this case, it's supposed to be a dead person, so it's like it's kind of, and then she's in the shadows, so it really comes off as like startling the first time you see that. And that's kind of like the first inclination that, oh, this is going to be that type of movie, like where things that are not supposed to be able to happen are going to happen. Even later, there's all kinds of things that you can look, if you watch like a breakdown on YouTube, you can see like things in the background that actually mean something. Or there's shots where it's like a wide shot of the house where like some of the what would later be cult members are outside. I never even noticed it until I watched the breakdown, but they're outside of the house, and they show it like, you can, if you pause it, you can see it. It's pretty quick, but like they give you like little clues and stuff, and I think that all plays into the cinematography of this film, just being really, really top notch, especially for Ari Aster, this being his first movie. I know he wasn't the cinematographer. It was like he had a different cinematographer, but like just being under his direction, I think this was crazy for this to be his first feature-length film. The ending. I low-key got the ending somewhat spoiled for me, but it was part of the reason why I ended up watching the movie. I was on Twitter and saw the kind of an infamous scene of the mom running after the son, and then of course this is spoiler alert. I have the whole thing about I don't understand why people watching reviews without watching the movie first, so I don't really have much empathy for people that do that, for like not spoiling things. But if you want a spoiler alert, spoiler alert. But the mom gets possessed and is chasing the son through the house. He goes up into the attic, closes it up, and then there's banging on the attic door, even though there's no ladder there anymore. Then they cut to the mom like defying gravity on the ceiling, banging her head up against the door of the attic. And that was my introduction to like this movie, period. I never saw a trailer or nothing like that. So even though that was a bit of a spoiler, it made me want to watch the movie. So, and I'm glad I did. But the ending, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't understand the ending the first time, not completely at least. I didn't understand it the first time I watched the movie. I just recently rewatched it again to kind of like get a better like absorption of some of the things that they were getting at. I get it now with like Payman and him needing a male host and essentially Peter being chosen as a suitable male host. And essentially the bad guys won, like the devil worshiping cult won, and they were up there celebrating, essentially worshiping and celebrating who they had chosen as Payman's vessel or whatever. He was kind of like understanding what it was. They had the shrine or whatever you want to call it of Payman. But yeah, and then like a lot of things, once you get toward the end, a lot of things like pay off. Like almost everything means something in this movie. And I love movies that do that. I love movies that don't have a bunch of unnecessary like, filler or just things that don't end up meaning anything in the long run. About everything that happens, everything that's said, everything that's shown or emphasized with the camera means something by the end of this movie. Okay, and my final category is the rewatchability. This is extremely rewatchable, if for no other reason than some of the lore is kind of hard to understand at first on the first watch, but it is like a very rewatchable movie. I'm not the type of person that gets shocked by a lot of things, but this has a few different moments that is like, whoa, like you didn't think that it was gonna go there. And I think that goes right back to, Ari Aster not being afraid to go there with like the strange things about the Johnsons or whatever. That movie was, or that little short film, it was like odd. It was very odd, and which is why I think it went viral. But like him not being afraid to just kind of go left field with things. I think that is, you can see that same parallel right in this movie. For, Charlie with the whole car, that's like an infamous scene now with the decapitation thing. And, there's a few different times where it's just like a jaw drop type of moment. And I'm, like I said, I'm not very easily shocked, but this movie got me a couple times. So that's not, to be sneezed at. So overall, I think this movie was very good, especially for the horror genre. And I'm not even that big a fan of it. Like I said, I think it's very rewatchable. I think I don't like, part of the reason I don't like horror movies is because of like all the tropes, like the slasher tropes, where there's monsters and it's just like decisions that make no sense, and it's just like tension for the sake of tension. This is not that at all, and I think that's super refreshing, at least to me, as somebody that doesn't tend to enjoy horror movies for that reason. So great acting, great cinematography, great story. Like I said, message wise, it's not a message film, but almost all the categories it's hitting high levels for me. So I have to give, I'm just now really coming down to the actual number, but I will have to give this, I got to give it a 9 out of 10. And I'm like almost tempted to go 9.5. But I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think that like there's not much bad to say about it, other than maybe it's hard to like grasp the first time for like the average movie watcher, I think. But outside of that, like I said, the acting, cinematography, the just about everything is just like top notch with it. And this is the director's first movie. It's made me want to go back and look and like see what other movies he's made and that he's making right now, to see like, what else that he might be able to do to this level, because this was something that was very, I think, kind of genre defining as far as like psychological thrillers that kind of teeter on horror. So yeah, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Drop a comment and let me know what y'all think of this movie, if you've seen it, if you're too scared to see it, or whatever. But it is streaming, so you can watch it right now. But with that, that is my first review of 2026. I appreciate you guys for dropping in and watching. I'm going to be more consistent. 2026 is going to be a lot more consistent with these. I just kind of dread it sometimes because there's a lot of work to set all this stuff up and all that, but I'm going to be more consistent. It never ends up being as bad as I make it in my head before I do it. So once I do it, it's always like, I'm glad I did. So, but drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think of the movie, what y'all rate it, and some other movies you think I might need to review. So, but with that being said, my name is Deron Shields. Thank you for watching my review, and I'm out.